think we're 2 minutes early. Okay. Here we are, guys. Here we are, the threesome. The killer threesome, Alan. The killer threesome.
Yeah. Look at Martin
Now,
there,
let's
looking
see.
fresh-faced and young and ready to go and tackle this big subject we have today. It's been too long since we had Martin on, so it's always a pleasure to have Martin Popoff himself joining us.
Yes, thank you very much, Alan. Very cool. Yeah, haven't seen you for a while. Been on
Since
with Jimmy recently, but
Since I got you, I just showed you my latest acquisitions. There's one there, and of course, Metallica.
yeah. I've actually still got a supply of both of those. That company's closed down their music book division, so no more Led Zeppelin, no more the AC/DC album by album, no more the Pink Floyd. But the Queen's available, still got the Maiden, but yeah, too bad. They did beautiful designs of those. No more Big Book of Hair Metal either. So
there you go. Unfortunate.
All right,
This
guys.
is a hardcover too.
Martin, you want to show what else you got before we start the show? What are you selling now? What's on the plate? What's on the storefront?
nothing really. I mean,
What about Uriah Heep? You told me about Uriah Heep.
Yeah, well, I do have that. It's somewhere here, and yeah, actually found. So we're not on air yet, right?
We are on air.
Oh, we are on air.
Yes, we are. We're live.
I was going to mention something that I probably shouldn't mention. But, I have the Heap. These are all over here. I got the Heap. I've got the Thin Lizzy. I've got the Blue Oyster Cult, the Van Halen. Still got the Sweets. Still got the Angel. Still got the first two of the Maiden trilogy. The third one's out of print now, and I don't know if I'm bringing it back, Empire of the Clouds, but I brought this out because that's what we're talking about. And I've still got the first one as well, which is Where Eagles Dare, Iron Maiden in the 80s. So any of that stuff, martinpopoff.com.
All right, this is part 2, installment part 2. First one was advanced singles. All right, now we're in the years, what do we say, 1988 to 1998, correct?
Yep.
Yes. These are the songs that came out before the albums were released. So we'll go round robin. Alan, since he wasn't here last time, he'll go first. Then I'll go, then Martin. And we'll give our ranking of the advanced singles. And then after that, we can sort of discuss, was that the right release? Should they have picked another song? Or that was the correct single to pick?
Okay.
All right? You guys ready?
Yep. So worst.
I got to warm up my hands.
Alan, worst to first, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alan always gets it wrong. Just kidding.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, we'll let Martin start off.
I thought we were doing chronologically. My error.
It's all right. Martin, you start off. This way Alan will get the swing of things.
All right. I'll start off, and Alan can, dig his list around a little bit there. Okay, so my worst one of these ones, and the reason we're doing this, of course, Jimmy, is because when the Writing on the Wall came out, we did the first edition, which was because that is an advanced single. So we did the advanced singles of the modern era, and now we're going back. So my worst one I picked was Future Real. Really do not like the production on this. It's fast, but it's got the real clacky bass going. Not a great vocal, kind of just not a good chord sequence. I didn't think it was a very inspired song. So that's the advance from Virtual 11. Came out July 28th, 98, and then the album is
no, I think Martin.
No, hang on. No,
Martin, that's the other way around.
Yeah. I'm reading your research.
You're worse than Alan.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next one.
You're roping me into this
because it's fun.
Okay, my number 4 out of the 5 in reverse order.
6, actually. Okay, hold on. Let's just straighten this out here.
Okay? This is starting up well.
There's 6.
Virtual 11.
That's Jimmy.
X Factor, Fear of the Dark, No Prayer, and Seven Son of the Seventh Son.
That sounds like 5.
Sounds like 5. I guess I can't count.
It is 5, I think.
Okay, Seven Son, Prayer, Fear of the Dark, X Factor. You're right. It is 5.
Okay, good.
My bad. Go ahead.
My number 4, I went with Can I Play with Madness? I mean, maybe this could have been higher because it is a very popular Maiden song, but I've never been a big fan of the verse on this one. It's obviously got the great chorus and it's anthemic and all that. But I didn't think it was a particularly great song. I thought the two parts didn't go so great together. Very commercial sort of song. Again, very clacky bass sound out of Steve on this one. Got the cowbell going. The odd kind of end of bar fill thing that happened. Number 3, I went back to Blaze with Man on the Edge. it's got a very cool verse. It's got a horrible first 50 seconds, like one of these long intros.
I know, Martin, pause,
Yeah.
pause. I know why.
Why,
This
why?
is gone to hell. It's not 5 and it's 6. It is 6, and I'll
Okay.
tell you why.
Okay.
Because there was an exception. Seven Sun released 2 advanced singles
Okay.
before the album. So you had Can I Play with Madness and The Evil That Men Do, and then the album came out. Am I
Okay.
right?
All right.
March? No, I'm wrong. I screwed it up again.
No.
Okay,
Just
continue.
Back
I
to
think
5.
maybe
Okay.
I'll leave and come back in 3 hours.
No worries. Okay. So Man on the Edge, really do not like that whole first intro part of it. Intros are obviously a big problem with Maiden at this time. But it's a good fast one. And I think it's got a good anthemic chorus as well. I like that little volume switch guitar solo thing that goes on in it. Kind of cool. Or no, hang on. I meant the pickguard solo feel of Holy Smoke. Forget that. The volume switch guitar thing, I'm not crazy about in this one. Okay, so moving on. My second from the top, I went with Holy Smoke. Harris Dickinson one. Didn't like the twin lead to open on it, but it gets better. I like the whole straight chord rock and roll, punk rock. I know Steve doesn't like that term, but it's got a nice straightforward, rocking different feel for them. Bruce has a lot of vocal fry. He's kind of like screaming. He's got kind of a worn out voice, which works kind of cool on him. The video was kind of cool. It was a cheesy video, but it was cool to see Bruce literally in the studio actually singing the track. I'm pretty sure that is right. It was too good to be lip synced. I think that's literally him doing the track. So that was kind of cool to see. And this one's got that kind of pickguard area weird solo on it, which I thought was kind of cool. And then for the top one, I went with Be Quick or Be Dead from Fear of the Dark. I thought this was a really good, heavy, storming, rockin' tune. A nice way to come out of the gates. I remember when this came out, there was a lot of hope and a lot of energy for the album, which was sadly dashed. I didn't think it was that great an album, but I thought it was a good, quick way to a good way to get us all excited about Maiden again. And just a really good heavy one.
All right,
Again,
so let's recap. Okay, Be Quick or Be Dead was your number 1. Number 2 was
Holy Smoke.
Holy Smoke.
Yep.
And then number 3 was
Man on the Edge.
Man, yeah. 4,
Can I Play with Madness?
Play, yeah.
And Future Real.
And Future. Okay. All right, Alan. If you
Well,
can
I
follow
didn't
all
get the
that.
memo, and maybe nobody got the memo today by the way this is starting out. But no, I did a different way. I kind of went with a chronological order here. Okay,
Mhm.
so okay. Can I Play with Madness and The Evil That Men Do? I'm looking at it, Jim. I don't think there's some great other songs. Infinite Dreams maybe could have been a pre-release instead of The Evil That Men Do. But I can't fault the two choices at the time. Can I Play with Madness with Graham Chapman and Monty Python in the video? It was a great video with the animation and everything. And for us, it was like, wow, this is really proggy. This is probably their proggiest album ever that we've heard so far. So that was what struck me back in the day. And then No Prayer for the Dying. We got for me, Holy Smoke. I mean, when Adrian left the band, I kind of switched off there for a couple of years and went back to revisit them decades after. So again, Tail Gunner, possibly Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter could have been a pre-release. Then of course Fear of the Dark. Yeah, I mean, From Here to Eternity, maybe instead of Be Quick or Be Dead. But I can't fault any of the choices they're doing. And of course, Fear of the Dark is the classic off of that album. So you don't want to kind of, pre-release. You don't want to blow your wad too soon, as they say. And you go with something else. The X Factor, the very controversial X Factor. Again, Man on the Edge. Can't fault them there. Anything else on there? That was the only one I would do in the pre-release. And these like we spoke about this before. For us, these might be some of the weaker ones with Blaze, but for our children's generation, that's how they got introduced to Maiden, right? With the Blaze era. Future Real, what I love about Future Real, it's finally they're back to the 2-minute songs, like Running Wild and the early Maiden. So that's what I loved about that. It doesn't have to be 7 minutes. And then, of course, they've come back with The Angel and the Gambler, which is the complete opposite with, how many times did they repeat that line? 30 times, I think somebody counted. But I love that track.
I counted.
I love the track and I love the video. So I didn't know we had to rate them. Sorry, guys. I just to kind of give you more.
It's all right, Alan. Don't read the memos.
Aspect.
Don't read the memos.
I just, and again, but I can't fault any of the Klansmen. I love that song.
Well, not to tax you too hard, Alan, but at least, which would be your very favorite advanced single from this?
There you go.
These ones, it would be a tie, I think, between Can I Play with Madness and Angel and the Gambler.
Really? Oof. Yeah. Okay. Hold on a sec. You know what, Martin? I think this is what another mistake is, and I'm pretty sure about this now. I'm pretty sure Future Real was okay. So the album was released March 23rd. The advanced single was released on March 9th, which was The Angel and the Gambler. However, Future Real was released a few months later. Oh. So it was not the first one. Great song. Maybe it should have been released. That's the question, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
I would agree with that.
Oh, yeah. Angel and the Gambler is March 9th. Virtual 11 is the album is March 23rd. Future Real, you've got down as July 28th. So
yeah, I did a lot of homework there, Alan, and you didn't read my homework. But anyways,
I did.
It's okay.
Angel and the Gambler would actually stay in 5th place for me. So I could just switch out my Future Real for the Angel and the Gambler and nothing would change here. My chart would stay the same. So.
I like your chart. Hey, those are my words. Okay.
Again,
the Angel.
That was very controversial, right? As a single, the pre-release of Angel and the Gambler, because of the length, they try to get Steve to edit it down. He's, of course, no way, it's my way, and this is how the record's built. And looking back, was it the right call? I kind of agree with Martin. I think Future Real would have been a stronger one to lead off with on that album. So,
yeah. Well,
I had a hard time even doing that the middle Maiden book because of this period, and I wouldn't even have got through it had Bruce not been making records at the same time. And most of that second book is about Bruce's solo catalog, which I love. So.
All right, so here's my rank, and I'm going to rank them here. Okay. I'm going to rank them correctly.
The first.
Number 5, Angel and the Gambler, like Martin, even though Alan thought it was the greatest song ever on his number 1 list there. And I think the video
grooves.
I think the video was an edited version of the actual track. So they cut out a couple of "Don't you think I'm an," what is it? Oh, I forgot the line now. What's the line there? They repeat 1,000 times. Don't you think I can save you? They cut out that. It's a little bit shorter. It's an animated Jurassic Park Eddie CGI kind of video, and I think at the time it just didn't connect with people. Holy Smokes was 4 for me, like you guys all said. Great song. Can I Play with Madness? I'm going to correct everybody here. Now, the video was basically what they did, and I was very, very disturbed at the time when that song came out. They actually used the Number of the Beast footage, and they sort of tried to resync it as live footage on that video. If you remember correctly, there's an old man with with some sort of big cloak over him, and the Monty Python angle there. Bottom line is they tried to resync the video using the Number of the Beast video live footage that they took, if you look really carefully, and I believe from Power Slave, and they're just taking bits and pieces of live performances and they're adding them and resyncing that video. They probably didn't have enough time to actually make that video. Man on the Edge, man, that's Maiden at their best. I don't see why Blaze didn't get a bigger following because of it. And Be Quick or Be Dead would be my first one because, they just knocked it right out of the park. It's a great tune, right?
Yeah. Where did you have Holy Smoke?
I had Holy Smoke at number 4, and you had it at number 2. And Alan, where would you put Holy Smoke?
I wouldn't make my list.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has to be somewhere on your list, though. That's the rule.
That's the rule. Okay, it'll be last.
Just took it off.
It'll be last.
Now, here's the question to you, Alan. If the Klansmen would have came out instead of The Angel and the Gambler, would it changed the tone of the album? Would have people been more interested? Would have been more epic?
For me, there's two things. There's album tracks, there's deep album tracks, and then there's singles, right? So I think Future Real would have been the one to lead off on that one. But my favorite song on that album is The Klansman. So I don't think that needed to be a pre-release though.
All right. And what about you, Martin? Do you think that Klansman would have changed the trajectory of the album versus coming out with, The Angel and the Gambler?
Well, didn't the fame for the Klansman really start picking up when Bruce decided?
It did.
To
It
adopt
did.
I
It
agree.
did. Yeah.
Like, really, I mean, it's not that standout a track using those production values and those performances, right? It really takes off later. So I don't know. I mean, again, as Alan says, it would have been nice to have single edits for some of these things, right?
Yeah. Okay. So then Fear of the Dark. Now Alan, you were talking about Fear of the Dark. What if, and so this is what was happening in North America. Son of the Seventh Son, everything started going downwards, right? Yeah. And then No Prayer, Fear of the Dark, things were they're bottoming out, basically. They were going from platinum albums to gold to not even registering, on Fear of the Dark, right, in the US and Canada. Well, more in the US. So things are going downward, right? Now, if they would have released, instead of Be Quick or Be Dead, Fear of the Dark, would that have changed things? Or is there another song on the album that would have changed the dynamic?
Look, you tie in these real pre-releases, but as you mentioned, Jimmy, the videos were so important too, right? So you had From Here to Eternity, Be Quick or Be Dead, with a lot of quick cuts and Bruce running around and jumping around. And so the videos kind of tie it in. Whereas Fear of the Dark, I didn't know they did it live in Brazil. They released that years later. I don't even know they did one at this time. So
no, they didn't. But if they was released as a single at the time, would have changed everything. Martin,
it would have given the album more recognition because it is the name of the album at the same time. So that might have helped. But it was just they just weren't a very good band at that point. I mean, they weren't competing with what was out there in 1992.
I'm convinced they hired Blaze because, you had the 80s where there was these soaring tenors, and then you had the grunge that hit in 91, 92, I guess, with the baritone, the deep, dark tones. And they probably hired subconsciously or consciously Blaze because he had that baritone voice.
Plus, he looked like Bruce, and he came from a cool band.
That's right. And he was a great frontman. He was a great frontman.
Wolfsbane was a great band, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody loved Wolfsbane, right? So he's coming in with all this great well wishes, right? And like I say, he looks like Bruce. He looks like a younger, more energetic not more energetic, but as energetic version of Bruce.
He said in one of our interviews, there were some people in Brazil who didn't even know it wasn't Bruce in the band. They thought he was Bruce.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
Alan?
Well, I would have got Fear of the Dark as a third release instead of Afraid to Shoot Strangers. That's for sure.
Yeah. What about, is there any song that could have saved No Prayer for the Dying?
Man, I went through them all. I couldn't really pick anything.
Bring Your Daughter to Slaughter, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was a joke at that time, right?
Hooks in You a little bit, not terrible. But no, not really. That's just so many bad decisions and just not changing, not doing anything new or even not doing anything like a better version of Iron Maiden. It was just getting to be a worse and worse version of Iron Maiden, right?
All right, let's talk about the X Factor. I think that's the only one we haven't spoken about. The X Factor. It releases Man on the Edge. There's a little bit of momentum there, just not enough. Yeah. The Sign of the Cross to me has always been one of the big epic tracks, but I think if they would have did a single edit like you guys said, they could have, packaged it a lot cooler, and I think the Maiden fans would have been more excited, I guess. What do you guys think?
Yeah, whole raft of single edits. That would be pretty cool. They should have done a bunch of that stuff because it's almost like getting a new song, right? But or maybe even single mixes, right? I mean, that a single is kind of an opportunity where you could improve on the mix of the album, right? That sometimes, and that gets people talking about things. So yeah, there might have been things that could have been done, but just these long intros and stuff, and just the scrappy playing.
I listened to it before coming on the show, and like Martin said, that whole period, the drums on that sound absolutely terrible. The snare drum, it's like, is this? And then a few of the songs, I never thought this album was as bad as everybody made out. But the more I listen to it, I think I might agree with people. This is not really a very good album.
Yeah. I mean, and when there's keyboards, they're horrible, right? Like these weird keyboard choices of sounds and why to put it in and why not to put it in. They're in so sparingly, and then they show up and they just sound like, from 1981, right?
So Somewhere in Time was a platinum selling album in the US, and then suddenly Seventh Son comes out in 1988 and it goes gold. I mean, what do you guys remember from that time?
Well, I mean, that was, I think Somewhere in Time is going platinum. It's a little bit of the hangover from the excitement from the tour, and from all the great wishes in from the previous 3 albums at that point, right? It's actually a really good album. I'm quite into it. When I was working on all this Maiden stuff and doing the books, and even the one, Jimmy, that we all did together, and listening to that stuff again, that was the last one until the modern era. Like, not Seventh Son, Somewhere in Time. It really has some great deep tracks on it. I thought it was a pretty cool album. But so many people love Seventh Son, right? If you're a little bit younger than us, people think it's this absolute classic, right?
And Alan, it only went gold. Did you go to that tour?
Yeah, Guns N' Roses opened.
Yeah,
that's what I remember about it. The album again, like I said, Somewhere in Time. Okay, we got a lot more of the keyboards and synth guitars. Okay, and they did it a much more better way than Judas Priest did. They used the way they used them, and then this came out. You say, okay, it's more proggy. But like Steve, I think it's his second favorite album because of that. So and Adrian said, okay, now we're going to take it to another level. And Steve said, no, we're gonna get it back to basics like we did on Killers, and that. Hey, we're all so close to reaching our our potential, and you want to take it back. So that's why he left the band. So and I can't say that he was wrong either. Seventh Son is not one of my top Maiden albums, but it's a solid album. There's a lot of good stuff for me on there. So a lot better than what was coming in the next 2 or 3 releases.
I don't hate the stuff afterwards. I mean, Seventh Son is always one of those albums I never reach for, but when I put it on, I do appreciate it. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. The Evil That Men Do is probably one of the best tracks on the album. And I guess it's a testament as they keep playing it on the shows and their shows, forever since then, right?
Let's say, here we go. You asked me if I saw that tour, and here's the ticket right here. A whopping $19.50 to see Iron Maiden with Guns N' Roses opening back on March 17th.
Canadian.
17th of May. It's I don't know. It must have been 88, I guess.
All right, guys.
$19.50. That's always gets me compared to what we're seeing today.
I'm amazed how regular, like when you went and did this exercise, like Maiden was really good with this advanced single thing. I don't think anybody was this consistent with actually doing advanced singles every time, right?
But when you think about it, like when I took it apart, like I said this last time, they would do one advanced single, release the album, and then do another single. And it was that's always been the format for Iron Maiden with 1 or 2 exceptions. So they're like, boom, boom, boom. They're just very mechanical in that sense, right?
It goes back to the early 80s, right? I remember some of the fantastic album covers like Purgatory with all these maxi singles was what they were calling it. And you always had the cover version, right? Like Cross-Eyed Mary from Jethro Tull and stuff like that always made it very interesting. Stuff that they were, UFO and the various groups like that, that we weren't particularly interested in or even knew about, and because of Maiden we got to discover all these other bands because of these cover songs that they did.
So we're in the dark period right here. We're in the Maiden dark period, and hopefully things will find the light.
We got that done because it's a little more fun again.
I think we're all a little down.
We're all depressed. Steve, you've depressed us.
Could when you take the 2 Blaze Bayley albums, Martin, and if you were to remove some of the tracks that, are not as favorable, could you make one incredible album out of those 2?
No, not the way they're produced or performed.
Really?
No, I don't think so. And you, I mean, you really have to, you know, you need one of those producers that comes in like a Bob Ezrin, who will take the songs apart and move parts around on you, and then put the best parts together and the parts that lead into other parts perfectly.
Yeah.
Like literally tear the songs apart and rebuild them with all the best parts and the ones that go in the right place. And I think that's what could have improved these records, and then record them properly.
Alan, is Fear of the Dark and No Prayer for the Dying better than the two Blaze Bayley albums, in your opinion?
No. But
Really?
again, if we're talking writing and songwriting and the actual songs or recordings, that's
I'm
two
just
different
talking about the whole
things, right?
package. I'm talking about the two albums versus those two albums. Are they better than the two worst Iron Maiden albums, which would be at least the fans say, the Fear of the Dark and No Prayer?
I'd reach for this over any of the other three.
But that's not the question, though.
I answered. Yeah, I think they are actually. But again, like Martin said, it's hard to get past the production. It really is.
I would think, like, I would listen to the Blaze albums, and I would definitely put them way above No Prayer and Fear of the Dark. And even though the production is a lot better on Fear of the Dark, I don't know. I maybe it was just time for something new when Blaze came along, you know, and they needed that sort of, and it brought in more of a progressive element, right, in the band, and the vocals did change the dynamics and the songwriting. I don't know. I kind of enjoy them. I just kind of like
How
Rush.
come every
you know?
time we talk about Maiden repeating boring parts over and over and over and over again, we call it progressive? I mean, you're not very
Isn't that progressive?
anywhere.
Jimmy loves that
Seven
word. That's
Son
just
isn't
too-
a progressive album, you know, and none of these are progressive albums. They're just they're just albums with songs that are 8 minutes long that have enough parts for a 3-minute song.
Yeah.
And they do it over and over and
That's
over.
right.
Right.
I'm not
And
gonna
the
argue
guitar
with
solo
that.
sections have extra bars to them and stuff like that, right?
Isn't that what progressive rock was? Just 20 minutes of just repeating the same bars over and over again?
no.
That's the point. I mean, Maiden has really never been that progressive in too many spots.
No.
They just need editing. They're just too long songs.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
Like the Sign of the Cross is one perfect example of here's a great chorus, a great verse, and then they just put all the stuff in the middle and they just have that bass part at the beginning, and it's just why are they doing this? It's just for the sake of being long, right? That's all it is. It's just for the sake
And
of
every
having-
song in that album starts the same, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Then it
yeah.
crescendos and Blaze comes in. It's almost talk singing at the beginning. And
Well, Bruce does that too.
no,
Bruce
but
does that.
there's like 3 or 4 songs. It's all the same. Everyone starts the same. It's like, guys, you know, change it up a little bit.
All right. Well, now that we put everybody in a bad mood,
Yeah,
Hopefully
you'll get
next
some nice
time.
comments on this one.
A great band. Just this, we're talking, unfortunately, one of the weaker periods of the band. That's all.
yeah,
So-
and kind of depressed now. I think I'm gonna go eat something. Guys, I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
All right, everybody, tell us what your favorite tracks and how you rank them. Those advanced singles that we got completely wrong.
Maxi singles.
All right, everyone, have a great night.
Martin,
Sounds
thanks
good.
a lot.
Okay. We'll
Looking
talk
forward to your
again.
Okay, bye.